Chris Cooley, good to chat with you, sir.
Hello, Richard. It's nice to not sit on hold for 14 minutes today to talk to you.
You know what, Christopher?
Your people a little easier.
You know what, Christopher? That's just how much I respect you. I put you higher in the pecking order this time around. You know?
Well, I scheduled you for last possible call, so I'm going to give you half effort.
Oh, is that possible?
I'm not that motivated right now, and you're going to have to motivate me.
Well, Chris, if I can't get motivated guests to come on and be motivated to be a guest on a show like this, I got to get a different guest. You know, I mean, or wait a minute, I can't host well if my guests can't guest well. Does that make sense?
Done. That's the answer right there. It's all in the host. It's all in the question.
Chris, is it true that there are Redskins who think you are talking too much truth when you go on the air?
Probably. It's probably very true. And I've now been on air for 2 seasons. My team's record over those 2 seasons is like 6-100. Actually, it's not 100. You can figure out how many wins.
Yeah.
But they've only won 6 games total, or how many losses. And so after halfway through last year, I thought, well, I have to be really critical. How am I going to be critical without truly knowing? So I just started watching the film, which is great. You can watch the All-22 film. Anybody in America can buy it on NFL.com and watch the All-22. And I know the concepts this offense and defense are trying to run. I understand the players on this team. And I have no way personally attacking any of these players. I actually like a lot of these guys. I have a hard time doing this, but I'm also really honest. And so when I watch the film, I can say how they're playing. And if that's hard, then that's too bad. I don't know what to tell you, man. Your job as a pro player is to deal with the media. You're getting paid a lot of money to be criticized and scrutinized, and if they're not hearing what I say in that meeting room, then that's a problem.
Well, Chris Cooley, the Redskins Radio Network, joining me here. But it's not just stuff that you're saying. It's stuff that you're hearing in the locker room. Somebody's clearly talking to TMZ from in that locker room, Chris. There's no doubt about it. And then you know, somebody, and it's not just current players too. It's long-time, big-time Redskins like London Fletcher going on his pregame show on CBS Sports Network this week and putting Haslett on full blast, calling him incompetent, clueless, saying that he would frequently change plays because Haslett couldn't call plays properly in the moment. Then his son, Haslett's son, tweets at him the following. I don't know if people have seen this or not. Sad someone who is respected so much and loved by my father would publicly come out and try to ruin his career. Hashtag mind blown. To which London Fletcher responded, your father has ruined plenty of people's careers. What's up with that,
Yeah,
Chris?
let's actually get his tweet right, though, because he spelled your wrong.
That's true.
And then he didn't put careers at the end. He said your father has ruined plenty of people's career.
Yes, syntax and grammar aside,
If you're going to dodge
though.
someone on Twitter, you got to be grammatically correct, Rich. Everyone knows that. You got to know that. No, this is crazy. That's not the London that I think that the fans understand. It's not a side of London that I really understand. And the London that I know is a guy that understands football at a really high level. He was never the best athlete. He played the game faster than anyone else because he understood the game better than almost anybody else. I spent a lot of time talking football with London Fletcher, trying to understand defense with the help of London Fletcher, and he got it. So the London that I know is a guy that should evaluate exactly what he sees on the field. I want to see London Fletcher tell me where the middle linebacker needs to drop in a 3-deep, 4 underneath coverage and what he's reading. Is he reading eyes? Is he keying quarterback shoulders? Is he trying to do route recognition? Those are things that fans don't know. Those are things that I think he could enlighten fans on. If you want to judge overall who's a bad guy, almost any person in America can judge character of people or can try it for themselves to think who's a bad guy. And I don't think he did himself any favors. I think Haslett handled it well and said he's entitled to his opinion, and London is entitled to his opinion. I just don't. That's not the side of London that I think he should show.
So let me get you on some quick hitters here, Chris, because it is, like I said, a total mess where everybody's sniping at one another. The coach has gone through every single quarterback he could try and put out there this year, and none of it's worked. So I'm going to hit you with some quick hitters. RG3, should he stay with this team?
He's going to stay with this team, in my opinion, at least next year. I also believe Jay Gruden's going to stay with this team next year. There's just not another answer at quarterback, and there's a major investment behind RG3. If through next training camp there's as much Robert ego out in the world, then that'll be the end of it. But they're going to continue to work with Robert, in my opinion.
So you don't think, that was my next question, there's going to be any house cleaning whatsoever by the end of this year, that they're going to stay the course?
I don't know exactly if there's house cleaning or if there's house rearranging. There might very well be some rearranging, but this is a team that needs to have a very good offseason. They might have the first pick of the draft. They need to have a really good draft, and they need to start to understand where to build this organization, where to build this roster, maybe from the bottom up, because for the past 10 years, the back 20 positions on this roster hasn't been capable of filling in and playing at a high level for the team.
Chris Cooley, Redskins Radio Network. So what do you mean by rearranging? How do you envision the rearrangement?
Last year, Morocco Brown was the head of our personnel department, left to Cleveland. Bruce Allen took over that job. I think they're, to some extent, looking for a guy that is very good at evaluating not only talent, but also personalities of players and character of players, and getting the right type of guys and getting the guys that will fit Jay Gruden's offense and scheme. I think you have to build around a coach for an extended period of time, and I think Jay's the right guy to do that. But when there's constant change, there's constant turmoil, and there's also guys constantly fighting just to keep jobs and to stay in an organization, and that, to me, creates the leaks and creates the backstabbing and creates a lot of the tension that's gone on with this team.
Chris Cooley, the Redskins Radio Network. You took a commercial idea that I was part of a couple of years ago with Courtyard by Marriott and actually put it into practice, where you stood behind a counter and literally checked people who had no idea it was you behind the counter in at a Courtyard by Marriott. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Almost like my prank calls to you.
Well, those were terrible.
That obviously me.
Those were terrible, Chris.
You know, no one there, just no one had the perception that Rich Eisen has to just know that's Chris Cooley. So this was fun. I'd watch Nick Foles do it. You can watch these videos on Courtyard's YouTube camera. You can find them on YouTube. But I'd watch Nick Foles, who's a friend of mine, about 6 months ago, where he was a waiter in a fantasy football draft, which was great. And we have the same agent, and my agent called me and said, "Do you want to do one of these?" And I thought, yes, that's great. And so Courtyard, who's the official sponsor of the NFL, starts to set this up, and they said, "Well, be the behind-the-desk guy at a hotel on game day for fans checking in for the Redskins game."
Oh, fantastic.
So I thought I was going to get all kinds of crazy disguises.
Well, actually, you got
mustaches and sideburns and glasses and pirate patch, and I got a wig and glasses.
Yeah, and we've got the video to prove it. Here it is. Roll it.
Welcome to Courtyard. What are you here for tonight?
With a football game, for one thing.
Who are you cheering for tonight?
I'm going to cheer for the local team. I think they need some help.
They should sign back the former tight end, Chris Cooley.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Mom, I told you that you can't call me at work. No, Mom. No, I took care of that.
You can sing the fight song of the home team. You could have a suite.
Hail to Washington, hail victory, Braves on the warpath, fight forward, DC.
That's the first.
I gotta do the whole thing?
Yeah, you gotta do the whole thing for the suite. The first four verses would be great.
Do we have a hidden camera somewhere around here?
Yes, you do have a hidden camera here. You have one there, and you have one there. My name is Chris Cooley. I played for the Redskins for 10 years. Those are...
Nicely done, Chris. Well done. Very well done.
No, it was fun, Rich. It was really what Courtyard's doing is trying to have a good experience for their guests, and I think everyone had a great experience.
Yep.
I definitely had a good experience. There were a lot of fun things. You hear me pretending to talk to my mom.
Yes.
The lady, when I was pretending to talk to my mom, was so sweet. I was acting like my mom was mad at me, and she was saying, "Calm me down" the whole time while I'm checking her in. I actually didn't officially check anyone in. I took a lot of credit card information, wrote down a lot of credit card numbers, and just put them in my pocket.
All right. Well, that's just you being you, Chris. That's just you being you. Although, I got to tell you, when you attempted in our podcast world previous to this show to prank me, you were terrible at it. I mean, I know you said you pranked Andy Reid once and Tebow. You pranked Tebow once by getting their phone numbers, or Elway, but man, I got to tell you, man, when you called me up, you put on this voice just like this. I knew it was you the whole time. I really did.
Well, Rich, you knew it was me because my number came up on your caller ID.
That's true.
It's easy to prank call people that don't actually have
It's
your
your
phone number.
fault for not blocking it.
You know what, buddy? It's my fault for having too many adult beverages and then trying to get away with calling you. So I've waited 2 years, and I got to quit talking to you and talking about this. But I'll get you. I'm going to get you.
All right, Chris.
Like the Dumb and Dumber where he says he's going to give him the pet.
Yes.
I'm going to get you. I know I'm going to.
All right, Chris. Thanks for coming on the program with Courtyard by Marriott and Tow. Thanks, pal.
Rich, it's always a pleasure. You have a good one, buddy.
You bet.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.